Most people assume the AI job crisis looks like a mass firing, a dramatic announcement, a headline, a wave of pink slips. But the scariest version of what's happening to your kid's future may never make the news at all. No one gets fired. No one loses anything. A job opening just never gets created. That's what the data is actually showing us right now, and it's a lot more unsettling than the robot takeover story you've probably heard. At companies that have adopted generative AI, entry-level hiring has fallen by roughly 80% per quarter since 2023, according to a working paper from Harvard University. The decline is driven primarily by slower hiring, not increased layoffs. Workers who left simply weren't replaced. So the world looks completely normal on the surface. Senior employees keep their jobs, companies keep growing, and your kid graduates into a market where the door they were supposed to walk through just quietly closed. This video is about that door. Specifically, what's happening to the first job, the entry point, the first rung, and why it may be disappearing in a way that almost nobody is explaining clearly. There's one piece of this puzzle that I'm going to save for the end because it changes everything about how you should think about the problem. So stay with me, because the last point is the one that actually gives you something to do about it. Let's start with what the numbers look like right now, because they are striking. A working paper from the Stanford Digital Economy Lab found that workers aged 22 to 25 in occupations most exposed to AI experienced a 16% relative decline in employment after the spread of generative AI. More experienced workers in the same roles were largely unaffected or even saw their employment improve. Read that again because it's easy to miss what's strange about it. Workers aged 35 to 49 in the same exposed jobs are up over 8% across the same period. Same occupation, same company, same AI tools being used every single day. The experienced worker is doing better. The 22-year-old is disappearing. For software developers specifically, 22 to 25-year-olds in that occupation are down nearly 20% from their late 2022 peak. So AI isn't killing the lawyer, the programmer, the analyst, or the marketer. It may be killing the 22-year-old version of them. And here's what makes that so dangerous in the long run. And this is the open loop I want you to hold in your head for the rest of this video. If we stop letting beginners in, where do the experts come from in 10 years? I'll come back to that because economists have actually given this problem a name, and the implications are wild. But first, let me show you why the entry-level market specifically is collapsing, because it's not random. In many white-collar jobs, entry-level workers spend their early years handling intellectually routine tasks, debugging code, reviewing legal documents, drafting communications, entering data. These are exactly the kinds of tasks generative AI handles best. So when a company adopts AI, the first thing that becomes optional is the person who was doing those tasks. Historically, those tasks served a dual economic function. They provided necessary output for the firm, and crucially, they served as a kind of paid education, a subsidized learning curve where the junior employee absorbed the unwritten rules, the cultural context, and the complex judgment required for senior roles. AI took the output, but it also quietly took the training ground. There's a subtler version of this that a May 2026 study of US job postings captured really well. The job title doesn't disappear. The marketing analyst role still exists on paper. But the beginner tasks that used to live inside it, the first drafts, the basic research, the spreadsheet cleanup, the summaries, those are gone. The job survived. The training wheels were just quietly removed from inside it. Now, here's where it gets genuinely strange, because the next piece of this contradicts what you'd expect. Research on AI and customer support found that a generative AI assistant increased productivity by 14% on average across thousands of workers, but by 34% for the newest, least experienced employees. AI helps beginners the most. So you'd think that would be great news, right? More productive beginners, more reason to hire them. But here's the twist. If one beginner with AI can now do what 3 used to do, a company doesn't need 3 beginners anymore. The technology that makes a beginner more capable also makes the company need fewer beginners. AI may save the beginner after they're hired, while reducing the number of beginners who get hired. Most people miss that paradox entirely. And now let's talk about something that almost nobody is covering, because it's very new and it changes the shape of the problem going forward. A Harvard Business School and INSEAD working paper finds AI native startups are 25% smaller, employ 13% more engineers, and carry roughly 15% lower shares of entry-level workers and managers than non-AI peers. Startups built around AI hire fewer entry-level workers than their peers. The firms are leaner, flatter, and heavily weighted towards senior technical talent. Think about what that means for the next decade. The old companies are automating away junior roles as they adopt AI. And the new companies, the ones being built right now, were never designed to hire those workers in the first place. This isn't just about existing employers replacing people. It's about an entire generation of new employers being structurally built without a beginner's seat at the table. A 2025 IDC/Deal survey found that 66% of global enterprises plan to cut entry-level hiring due to AI adoption and automation. A 2024 SHRM survey found 70% of hiring managers say AI can do the jobs of interns. 57% trust AI's work more than that of interns or recent graduates. That's a majority of hiring managers saying they'd rather use the tool than train the person. Now, here's a really important twist I want to throw in, because this video shouldn't just be AI doom, and the reality is more complicated than that. A 2026 working paper called The Broken Ladder makes a compelling argument that some of what we're blaming on AI might actually be tangled up with another massive post-pandemic change: remote work. AI-exposed occupations also tend to be the ones most compatible with working from home, which makes the two forces very hard to separate. And the intuition behind it is powerful. A senior employee can often work remotely because they already know what to do. A 21-year-old learns by overhearing conversations, asking tiny questions, watching how experienced people handle messy situations, and slowly earning trust. When work goes remote, the cost of training a beginner goes up. Maybe AI didn't break the first rung alone. Maybe we also remove the office where beginners used to learn how to climb it. That's worth sitting with, because it means the solution isn't just about AI policy, it's about how we structure work itself. Postings for entry-level jobs in the US plunged 35% from January 2023 to June 2025. AI doesn't explain the whole decline, but was a key contributor, especially for entry-level jobs that are highly AI exposed. And the jobs that are disappearing fastest are the ones that used to be the most reliable on-ramps: data engineers, software developers, customer service and compliance roles, financial advisors, and risk analysts. So now let's get back to the question I planted earlier, because this is the part that keeps me up at night. Economists have started calling this the apprenticeship externality. The argument is that junior tasks aren't just cheap work, they're how society produces future experts. When a company automates those tasks, it captures the immediate savings. But it doesn't bear the future cost of having fewer experienced professionals down the road. Think about it this way. If AI replaces junior legal research in 2026, where do the senior lawyers come from in 2036? If AI handles entry-level debugging today, where do the senior engineers come from in 10 years? We may be saving money right now by automating the exact mistakes people used to make on their way to becoming experts. As one developer put it plainly, if you don't hire junior developers, you'll someday never have senior developers. That's not a metaphor. That's a pipeline problem, and it compounds quietly for years before anyone notices. If everyone does that, the entire pipeline of talent starts to collapse, and, in a few years, employers in lots of sectors are going to find themselves in trouble, as one labor researcher put it. Now, the thing that makes this feel urgent for parents specifically, and this is where I want to bring it home, is the skill gap that's opening up right now between what schools teach and what employers are already requiring. Internship postings are shrinking. Handshake reports a 30% decline in tech-specific internship postings since 2023, while applications rose 7% over the same period. More people chasing fewer openings. And the openings that do exist are increasingly asking for something that barely existed when today's teenagers entered school: According to a spring 2026 update from the National Association of Colleges and Employers, more than one-third of entry-level jobs in their employer survey required AI skills, nearly triple the share from just months earlier. Nearly 60% of employers said interns were being assigned projects involving AI tools. The traditional bargain used to be, school gives you the fundamentals, your first employer teaches you the tools. The new bargain is shaping up to be, prove you can work with the newest technology before we give you your first chance to work. That is a completely different ask, and most schools haven't figured out how to teach it yet. If any of this is landing for you, if you're a parent or you work in education, or you're just someone who's been watching the job market and wondering why it feels so different for young people right now, drop a comment below. I'm genuinely curious whether you're seeing this play out in your own world. And if you want to go deeper on how AI is reshaping specific careers, there's a video right after this one that goes into exactly that. Subscribe so you don't miss it, because this topic is moving fast and I'm covering it every week. Okay, so here's where I want to land this, because I don't want to leave you with just a problem. The Stanford researchers found something really important inside all of this data. Not all uses of AI are associated with declines in employment. In occupations where AI complements work and is used to help with efficiency, there have been muted changes in employment rates. The negative impacts are concentrated in fields where AI is more likely to automate tasks rather than augment work. And occupations with mainly augmentative AI applications have not seen similar declines in entry-level hires. That distinction is everything. Two companies can buy the exact same AI technology. One gives it to the junior worker as a tool, making that person more capable, faster, more valuable. The other uses it instead of the junior worker entirely. Same technology, completely different future for your kid. The future of the first job may not be decided by how intelligent AI becomes. It may be decided by one choice their future employer makes: give the AI to the beginner, or use the AI instead of the beginner. That's the thing worth paying attention to. Not just which industries are growing or shrinking, but which companies are building with people and which ones are building around the absence of them. Because the data is already showing us the difference, and it's showing up in who gets hired at 22.